Hey guys, how's it going? So in today's video, I'm going to talk about Cronos possibly acquiring Medmen. So let's begin with the video. So before I begin with the video, I just want to show you guys a little clip from Medmen's second quarter presentation for some people who, wondering why Medmen stock is down even though it's a nice company. Here is a question from an investor, from somebody asking why their stock hasn't performed very well, and you guys can hear for yourself what the response of the CEO is. So let's begin.
Okay, perfect. And then just on the SG&A freeze, can you just kind of confirm when that was instituted? Was that at the start of the current quarter, or is that just partway through the quarter?
That was actually instituted a couple weeks ago, so you'll see the effect of that, probably, a third of this particular quarter and go forward.
Okay. That's all for me. Thanks, guys.
Your next question comes from the line of Paul Penny with Northland Securities. Your line is open.
Good afternoon, guys. This is Greg on for Paul. Thanks for taking the questions. First one for Adam. So, we've seen the broader publicly traded cannabis names improving, or at least having steady share prices, while Medmen shares have kind of been stuck in neutral. So with that, we'd just love kind of your opinion or your view on what the biggest misconceptions about Medmen today are.
Hi, Paul. Good to talk to you. Thanks for asking the question. I guess the only thing I can say to that, Paul, would be it's on us. We have not done a good job of being clear, being concise, and owning our own narrative. Going forward, that all changes. This means making a concerted effort to make sure that the world understands our story so people can analyze and decide if they want to invest in us based on facts. The facts are pretty straightforward for me. Retail is the choking point for the entire supply chain and the most defensible part of this industry. We have secured the best retail locations in the biggest cannabis markets in the world, including the biggest, California, the prize of the industry, where as of this quarter we had 7% market share. And we remain heads down on execution, and over time our stock price will reflect our best-in-class performance. But it's on us, Paul, and we're committed to spending one-on-one time with each of you to clarify our narrative, if that be helpful. Michael especially will start being overly communicative so you can understand Medmen better at both the corporate level and the four-wall level. And at the end of the day, we will be judged on our business fundamentals, and our business fundamentals are best in class.
And if I was a CEO and I was asked that question, that would be frustrating. But you guys heard it for himself, and he does sound very irritated when he answered that question. I guess anybody would, because that is a pretty frustrating question. Oh, why is your stock not doing good? Well, because the real answer is because of the problems we have in our companies, like getting sued and the fact that I'm greedy, but he'll never say that. But anyways, let's let's begin with with this piece of news from Motley Fool. There's a connection between GGP and Medmen before this deal. What you might not realize about Gotham Green Partners and co-founder and management member Jason Alda is also a board of directors of Cronos Group. As a member of the audit committee and compensation board. Why does this matter, you ask? Back in March 2018, Medmen and Cronos formed a joint venture. The first of its kind cross-border joint venture was designed to allow Medmen to continue developing brand products while with Cronos in the introduction of the Medmen brand in Canadian marketplace, as well as access to Medmen's upscale business in model in Canada. Although we haven't had much about this partnership since it was forged a year ago, Adler have a front row seat at the board of Cronos and may have encouraged his team at GGP to take a plunge with a $250 million investment into Medmen. Okay, so this is my assumption, right? I'm assuming that Adler is talking with Cronos, and they're probably Cronos is probably saying, oh, we probably have plans to get into the US, and I think Cronos' biggest plan to get into the US is through Medmen. Cronos is not gonna be like, okay, legalization comes, okay, let's go build some stores in the United States now that the United States become very legal. Hell no, that is retarded if you think that Cronos is gonna go into the United States and start building all the infrastructure up from ground level. I don't think so. I think Cronos is gonna go into United States, acquiring a company like Medmen, so they can Medmen already has a business infrastructure in United States, and by the time they if they do acquire Medmen, they will be acquiring a lot of assets. So they would be acquiring all the growing facilities, all the dispensaries, everything. So that merger would make a lot of sense, and Green Growth brand probably realize this because they sit on the board of Cronos Group, and they probably talk to Cronos Group, and the fact that Medmen and Cronos Group has a deal for joint venture, which I don't think they didn't even care too much about this joint venture group. I think Cronos is just trying to establish a relationship with Medmen. I wouldn't be surprised if Medmen and Cronos never have a single Medmen store up, because I don't think Cronos cares too much about Canada. I think Cronos and Altera care more about the international market and the US market versus Canada, because Canada only has 38 million people. Not a lot of people care too much about Canada. It's all about the international market. It's all about the US market. Those are the two biggest markets that Cronos has their eyes on. That's why I think Cronos also gave away Whistler Medical to Aurora Cannabis, because they don't care too much about the Canadian market. They don't care about the short-term revenue gains that they can get from the Canadian rec market. I think Cronos cares about the US and the international market. I think Altera cares about that too. So Altera and Cronos could come in and try to acquire Medmen for, I don't know, $4 billion, $8 billion. I have no idea what the plan is, but I know that I'm pretty confident Kron has their eye on the United States. Aurora has their eyes on the United States too. Aurora has Australia's capital. They have Joom, which they recently acquired a license to produce they will acquire a company that is growing in Florida and has ability to make 22 dispensaries. So, and then High Tide possibly in the future could announce a US deal, and then Aurora could acquire our High Tide. I don't know, and Aurora is also getting ready with their stock to go into, and then they also have Nelson Peltz. So I'm assuming they're going to be going into the United States too to acquire maybe some hemp company in the US. I'm not 100% sure, using their stock value. I'm not sure, but they do. Afria also has plans in the US. They acquired back in the day. They were way ahead of their competitors. They acquired a company called they started up a company called Liberal Health Science, and they had to give away their, I guess, their foot placement because they wanted to list on the New York Stock Exchange and the Toronto Stock Exchange. But in the future, they could possibly go back and they could talk to Liberal Health Science and they can try to acquire the company, especially if Liberal Health Science is struggling. Aphria would definitely take Liberal Health Science for a cheap price of $300 million. That would be huge. I mean, that would be a very attractive price. They could just use the stock to buy them out. Because I'm sure Aphria is looking at the U.S. They want the U.S. more than they probably want Canada. So that's what I'm thinking. Canopy, of course. Canopy has Constellation Brands. They already acquired 2 hemp companies in the U.S. The U.S. is definitely something they're eyeing. There's something they're trying to get it. Like, they're actually in. And if USB ever becomes very legal, they're gonna be looking to acquire some U.S. cannabis companies. That's for sure. I don't know if they're gonna be acquiring Medmen, or they're gonna be acquiring Kira, or they're gonna be acquiring some kind of cannabis play. But I'm sure they're not gonna be like, we're gonna be building our infrastructure up from ground base. No, they're gonna use that $4 billion and the value of their stock to acquire some U.S. cannabis play. I'm pretty confident on that, but right now they're stuck. They can't do that because cannabis is still federally illegal in the U.S. So there's nothing they can do about it. They can't attack that market yet, but I'm sure they're looking at it and they're probably talking to some cannabis companies. So yeah, and then Cron, also on a death cross, Cron. I think Cron's a wonderful company. I think I listened to the press conference. I think management is very smart. Right now, it really looks like, from just looking at the chart, Cron should have fell back. They should have crashed, but it's not. It's not crashing. It's staying. But the charts are telling me that, this is nothing more than a bounce and the stock will eventually crash. But then a piece of news could come out and change the direction of the stock. But right now, to me, it looks like Cronos is about to crash, but it's not yet. So I don't know. Maybe it'll take a week. Maybe it'll take a month. But I think eventually it will crash unless some kind of news comes out that changes the direction of the stock. As you can see, volume is completely vanished. The BACD is going into the negative. It's just been downtrending like crazy. The death cross just happened, yet the stock is still floating high. So I mean, I'm hoping Cronos crash because I would love to add to my position in Cronos. Medmen. What I think about Medmen? I honestly wish I bought when I heard about Cronos' $2 billion deal. I should put a blind strap on and just threw money into Cronos. I would have been up at least double. But nope, I didn't do that. I didn't know how to read charts back then, and I was being bearish on the stock market like a nub. I was like, oh no, Donald Trump has no power. The stock market is gonna crash. At least that's what I'm hoping. But it didn't, and I could have had an opportunity of a lifetime if I only knew how to read charts, and I knew that we weren't gonna crash, and these cannabis companies are gonna recover. I would have made tons and tons of money, but I was being a nub. I was saying the stock market was gonna crash, and I sold off all my stocks, and I didn't look to buy back in because I didn't know how to read charts. But now that I do at least understand the concept of charts, I do realize that, opportunities will come eventually, and I will have an opportunity to buy back into companies like Cronos, into maybe even Canopy if it crashes. There's so much opportunity out there to make lots of money. But right now, Cronos, I think, would be dangerous until I see the MACD start to change the direction of the stock. Medmen, right? The charts is showing me that Medmen is bearish, but the 50-day moving average and the orange line, or the middle of the Bollinger Band, they crossed, or they're touching right now. They're kissing right now. So you know what? There's a possibility that Medmen could change the direction of the stock if the MACD shows a positive green on a Monday, that would be a buying signal, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens, but Medmen's stock has, the direction is changing slightly right now, and Monday could, Monday's news could reverse the stock and make the stock go higher. I don't know for sure, but I'm saying that the support, the 50-day moving average and the Bollinger Band have kissed, and they're about to cross. So that's a very, very positive sign. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this content. Give me a thumbs up; it helps my channel grow. Subscribe for future updates, and have a great day. Bye.